Welcome to Nelson Today. We have three main items on our show this week, as well as previews of the week's other programs. The fourth annual Family Show, sponsored by the Nelson Community Services Center, takes place on Saturday, November 4th at L.V. Rogers School. The two shows are at 4:30 and 7 p.m. Doug Laird of the Community Services Center tells us about this production.
Hello, my name is Doug Laird. I'm organizing and the promotion for the Nelson Community Services 4th Annual Children's Family Show. The show this year is going to be at L.V. Rogers on Saturday, November the 4th. Two shows, one at 4:30 and one at 7 p.m. Our shows are, as always, geared for children 4 to 10 and their parents. And this year the performers are George McDowell and Mary Ross. George is a retired military musician who is one of the most energetic and versatile performers I've ever run across. He plays an incredible number of instruments, and we're really looking forward to see him getting the audience going in this show. His partner in this is Mary Ross. She plays the accordion, and she is a music teacher as well as a young mother in Victoria. I'm expecting this to be the best show we've ever put on here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all come to it. Thank you.
That was Doug Laird of the Nelson Community Services Center. With me now in the studio is Nelson Becker of Oasis Productions and What's On Publications. Welcome, Nelson.
Well,
good to have you with us.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here.
You've been involved in a number of things. We've mentioned the two major activities that keep you here in Nelson. But I understand, before we get into that, you've traveled a fair amount before coming back to Nelson this time. Doing photography and so on. You were responsible for the piece in the Kootenay festivals here in Nelson some time back. Tell us a bit about it.
Oh, well, that was about 8 years ago. I had come to Nelson originally because I was traveling with a slideshow about Nepal, where I had lived for a while, and I came to Nelson as part of my route is one of the places to show this slideshow, and I fell in love with the Kootenays and felt so touched by the area that I didn't feel a need to go on elsewhere, and I stayed for a while. And I thought, well, what can I give to this community? And the community seemed so whole as it was, you know, that there was people doing good work in so many different areas, that I thought, well, let's make a big party, a celebration, to bring together a lot of different people who were doing what I thought was piecework, whether it be working for the environment or doing some volunteer work in the hospital or working to put an end to arms or whatever, and I wanted to celebrate this. So we held a 3-day event in Lakeside Park, and that was about 8 years ago.
Yes. And since then, traveling elsewhere?
Well, since then, after the festival, you know, I was, I guess, like a number of people in Nelson, feeling an economic pinch and not really knowing what to do with that. And I decided that what I would do is go to Ottawa, where I thought I might be able to do better economically, which I was, but on the other hand, being in Ottawa for 6 years, I never was able to leave my heart, take my heart away from the Kootenays. And I finally, about 2 years ago, had to reunite my heart with my body by coming back here and putting my energy into Nelson and the Kootenays.
Okay, and when you arrived here, Oasis Productions was, I guess, your first step.
Well, yes, basically, I started both Oasis Productions and What's On simultaneously.
I see.
There was an idea, which is still existing, to open up some sort of public facility where there would be events. And as I don't have a facility, I use other people's facilities, and we put on entertainment and both bring in talent from outside of the Kootenays as well as helping to promote talent within the Kootenays. What's on Publication ends up being the publicity arm of all this, of the original club, but now it's a publicity arm for everybody. And it really is an open publication meant to serve everyone.
And of course, What's On is probably your public persona for most people around Nelson. They're certainly aware of that as one of the things that you do. How did you come to create this type of publication?
Well, I lived in Denmark for a while, and I worked in a community theater there. And when I began to work there, the theater was doing very poorly. It was not getting houses with more than 6 people in it. And this is in a community of 250,000 people. And one of the things that I did when I began to work there in order to turn the theater around and make it become a place that people would go to was put out a monthly publication, which purpose was to publicize the events that were going on in this theater. Working on that, and I've always been involved in media, whether it be video, as what we're doing here, or radio. I've been involved in co-op radio in Vancouver and a radio station in Montreal called Radio Centre-Ville, a multilingual radio station. It was quite natural for me to get involved in other kinds of media kind of things.
Surely.
And I saw a need, and I said, here I go.
Okay, and it's now expanding. You've broadened your subscription, I guess is not quite the right term, but drop-off places to include Castlegarn Trail, I guess?
Yeah, we now have a circulation of more than 21,000, and 13,000 are via direct Canada Post to a great number of areas in the Kootenays. I won't list them right here. But I think that the biggest growth that we made, and I say we because we're maybe 20 people every month that put it together, everyone from full-time people to people who write an article or take a photograph. What the biggest growth for me is the quality of what we're putting out, and I think that this is wonderful, you know, and we're getting read.
Well, it's good to see that there's as much activity in What's On taking place. Understand that you have a video related to a performance that's coming. Tell us about it, please.
Yeah, we're bringing in a troupe called Kokoro Dance from Vancouver, and you may have seen the drummers, Qatari Taiko drummers, when they were in town a few months ago. These are people who play Japanese drums, and they were at the Capitol. They have a performance. There's another subgroup, in a way, of 3 drummers and 3 dancers, and they're coming to Nelson in the Capitol Theater on October 14th, and they're putting on a performance called Rage, which is about the internment of the Japanese during the Second World War here in the Kootenays. And we have a short clip, and I'd like to just show it as a teaser to the audience. Could we do that?
Yes, let's go to that now. That was Kokoro Dance. You have some other things on the go with Oasis.
Yeah, most exciting is our Halloween dance, which is on October 28th, Saturday night, and it's a costume dance. We're doing this in conjunction with LVR stagecraft students, and they're going to do set design for the Halloween dance. And they're going to make an entranceway. It's going to be at the badminton hall at the Civic Center. And of course it's an Oasis production, so it's a family event. It'll be for all ages, no alcohol there, and they'll wear your costumes, and we'll have prizes, and it'll be a great deal of fun. The LVR students are making light shows, and be nice and friendly, scary.
Sounds interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, really great.
And I have to say, the name of the group, of course, is Brain Damage.
Appropriate.
Appropriate. But those of you who know Brain Damage, they're a great rock and roll group, and they've been playing in the Kootenays for many years, and they're really great to dance to.
Their music is not synonymous with the name they use,
No,
for sure.
it's all original music. It's great stuff. It's great stuff.
Yeah, really good. Well, we appreciate you being with us this evening, Nelson, and bringing us up to date on some of the activities that you and your organization are doing in and around Nelson today.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to come and talk to you. I hope to come and see you again soon.
Sure enough. Great.
Thank you.
Bruce Paterson, well-known Kootenay artist, has a show at the Nelson Museum which runs till October 29th. The exhibit includes drawings of historical Kootenay structures and also sketches from his travels in Europe and Africa. Paterson, who has lived in the Kootenays since the early 70s, gives many hours to the production of his sketches. Apart from his determination to make a good product, the time he gives has an incentive, the realization that the historical sites are changing or even disappearing at what he calls an alarming rate. Paterson would like to be able to compile his work into a book form. Let's see what he has on display at the museum.
are a nice group, and I know.
graduation. I don't remember much about my graduation because I was obsessed.
That was from Bruce Paterson's exhibition at the Nelson Museum. It's on view every day except Sundays and Thanksgiving Day until October 29th from 1 to 4 p.m. Following Nelson today, Channel 10 presents a rebroadcast of the Siswagan Fund races, then from the Sub Pub, a celebration of 5 years of the Kootenay School of Writing, and this week's City Council meeting. First, highlights from the Siswagan Fund race.
Some of us dreamed about
From the sports scene to culture, the Kootenay School of Writing recently celebrated 5 years of activity with readings by Kelvin Wharton, Paulette Giles, and Rita Moyer. The event took place at the Sub Pub.
And called the Kootenay School of Writing as an organization. And then the two bright ones realized that they couldn't have a school in Nelson alone, because more than half of the students and professors and so forth, instructors, were moving to Vancouver because they need to find work or pursue further studies. So what happened, and this is a little in-joke, is that the Kootenay School of Writing formed in Nelson, and our branch office formed in Vancouver.
Closing out our viewing schedule, City Council meeting shows this week's discussion of city business.
Girl's right in saying that we have an attitude. We are negotiating with minor soccer. I'd like to know if Alderman Girl proposes that city taxpayers continue to totally subsidize all these operations. Presently, we're trying for a balance, and we've had ongoing on a long basis, and I don't know the years, at least 5, that we'll try to achieve 50%, Your Worship, of the operation costs of the Civic Center and our fields. Right now, the taxpayer is paying over 80% of all costs for our many parks and fields, 60% or better for the Civic Center. I have a feeling that Mr. Grill, by his own statements, is in conflict when we talk minor soccer. I don't want to take an alderman to task for that, but if Your Worship moved on that some night when I take Alderman Grill to task, if it's a minor soccer, I believe he should leave the room, because he's very involved in it, and I think he's got too emotional over it. And we can't achieve a good agreement with Alderman Grill interfering, and I really mean that. He's interfered. I think he should have waited till the committee had come back with our recommendations.
And just a reminder that our City Council coverage will go live in a few weeks' time. And that's Nelson Today for this week. Thanks for joining us. For Nelson Today and Shaw Cable Channel 10, I'm George Millar.